localhost, which is what, we just gave it a second ago. Go ahead and hit enter. And there you go. This is the default page that you're going to get when you first install Apache Server. And now I'll just go ahead and read it out real quick, just our part of it. If you can see this, it means that the installation of the Apache Web Server software on this system was successful.
Yay.
That's a good thing,
Nice.
right? And you may now add content to this directory and replace this page. You're ready to go. Seeing this instead of the website that you expected, well, you may have some problems and, need to do some stuff. And we'll take a look at some of the things you can do if you don't see your web page in just a minute. I just want to go ahead and show another thing, though. There's another address that I can go to as opposed to just localhost. I can also go to my own IP address, right, Logan?
Yes, that would work.
And that'll bring me back to myself. Or I can also go to 127.0.0.1. And this is an IP loopback, okay?
Right.
So what it's going to do basically is just loop back to my own machine. So if you don't know your IP address, of course, you can quickly find out.
And this is a universal number?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
For any machine, it's just built into the whole...
No matter what your IP address is, it's...
Yeah.
All right.
It's just built into the whole TCP IP thing. So we can click on this, and boom, there we are back, still looking at the same thing. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but A, where do I start putting my web pages? B, I want to see a web page.
Right.
I'm ready to make a web page. So let's go ahead and close out our browser. And I've got Notepad here on my little fake desktop. We'll go ahead and open up the incredible Notepad. And yes, I know you guys out there how we can do head and end head tags. I mean, I'm not getting in to HTML development. That's not what this whole VTM series is about. And we got the body tag and all that stuff. But I'm just going to keep this just ultra simple. Just come in here and I'm going to do an H1 tag and say my very first web page. And I'll go ahead and close the H1 tag. And what do you think, Logan? Pretty sophisticated page?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is some complicated stuff. Adam, you think you could handle this?
I actually knew that to begin with, and that's kind of scary.
Okay, that's it. I need to put this inside of head tags and all. What do I need to do? I'm
No,
just
no,
kidding.
no, no,
It was just worth seeing the look on your face. All right, so File, Save As, and let's just go ahead. I'm going to save it here in the K drive, and we'll take a look at what we need to do with it in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and call this index.html. And let's go ahead and change our type over to all files so that we save it with the HTML as the extension. And we'll hit save. And we're going to talk about why this name in just a second. So we'll go ahead and close this out. And I'm going to open up my little K drive right here. And up underneath it, I've only got two things right now. I've got the index.html page that I just created. This is where I saved it. And I also have program files. All right, now this is what's pretty important. First of all, when you come in here and you start up your browser and you tell it to go to localhost, what it's going to be doing is basically it's going to talk to that Apache server, and the Apache server is going to say, okay, he's talking to localhost, and he didn't specify a particular web page file that he wants to see, so I'm going to check to see if a default file exists and give them to him. Well, obviously, this default file has got to have a specific name, and it is. By default, in the configuration, the file is index.html, all right? But now what I need to do is put this in the proper location, right?
Right, because there's a certain folder that Apache looks for files to serve.
Absolutely, and if this isn't in that folder...
Right, it's not there. It gives its own default page.
It's not going to search your whole hard drive for you. So where is this located? Well, first thing I'm going to do is let's just go ahead, and I'm just going to move this out here so you can kind of watch what's happening. So I've moved it out here. There's index. Now let's work our way to where this special folder, as Logan just talked about, exists. First, I'm going to go into Program Files. And, of course, you'll probably, for those of you out there watching this VTM, you'll probably have tons of different program files. But there is the Apache group. I'll go up under the Apache group. And up under there, you'll find Apache. So I'll go under Apache. And then you're going to start finding a whole bunch of stuff all related to the Apache server, okay, and supporting files, documentation, etc. From here, we're looking for a folder called htdocs, okay? So we'll go up under htdocs. And this is where, by default, you should put all your web pages, right?
Right.
Okay.
This is where Apache looks to serve web pages.
Absolutely. So, look, and I should be able to just take this file right here and move it on over and go back to localhost. And since this does have that default name...
Right. Then it would see that for the default page.
Awesome. So let's try it out. So I'm just going to middle-click, drag it over, tell it move it here. Okay, so there it is, now up in the right area. Let's go ahead and open up our browser again, and let's come back into localhost. What do you know? My
What do you
very
know?
first web page.
Hooray.
Hooray. Okay, now it's the end of the VTM. I'm just kidding. Now we see how we
You really
make
had
our...
me going there.
I know I did. So now that we've got our first web page in here, I guess we could spend just a minute. Again, this is just for newbies, but go ahead and talk a little bit about the configuration file that Apache server reads in to determine where this special folder is, what is the file that it looks for by default, etc. Okay, because later on when we get into the PHP section, we're going to have to come back into this config area and make some modifications, aren't we?
Exactly.
So it won't hurt for them to see it now, right?
Right. Then this is different sections than what PHP will be dealing with. It's good to see anyway. When you're setting up a server.
So, Kristen, where do I find this area at?
What? The config
Yeah.
document?
Let's
go
just go
back
ahead
to
and
the
minimize
Apache
this
groups folder.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and back up a little bit. Program files. Okay, up under program files, Apache groups.
Click Apache.
Okay, go into Apache.
And that one.
We'll go up under the
I was trying
config
to
folder.
read. I'm like,
From the config folder, now, what are you looking for?
The HTTPD. That one.
This look good to you, Logan?
Or the-
HTTPD config file, CONF.
That's it.
So if we just take this guy, I'm just going to right-click on it, open it with. Good job, Adam. Good
I
job.
am so great.
I'm going to come in here and just open up in Notepad, and there it is. A whole bunch of information in here. You'll see these little pound symbols all the way throughout this file. These pound symbols are for what, Logan?
For comments.
And in other words, information to the person reading through this file, but they're not things that actually get processed.
Right. When Apache reads this file, it ignores anything after a number sign.
You got it. So now we're looking for a few things. First of all, what I want to do is point out that this file is all about how the server is going to function, period. Server type, standalone, the server root, located in this area. There's just all sorts of information in here. So we keep coming down. And there's information with it, too, like timeout, the number of seconds before receives and sends a timeout, 300. So you got 300 seconds. Just digging down through information, digging. And while I could do a quick search, you're just going to, all the modules, we'll be adding modules a little bit later. The port, when I mentioned earlier that the requests come in on a special port, here's where we set the port at. 80, of course, is default. Remember the old server admin email address that I put in during the installation, busbyj@3dbuzz.com? There it is. We keep on digging down. Server name, local host, huh? Now, if you want to change it.
wow, it's magic.
You do that? Yeah, it's magic, whatever. So, document root, okay, so here it is right now. If you remember just a minute ago, we saw that we copied the index.html page over to the program files Apache group, Apache htdocs. Now, what I want to do is minimize this for just a second and say, what happens if I come in up to my K drive here, there's program files. I want to set up a folder in a different location than I'm going to put all my web pages in, and I don't necessarily want it buried up underneath all of that Apache stuff, okay? Maybe this is on a separate hard drive, or you may have your own reasons. What I'm going to do is right-click, go ahead and do a new folder, and I'm going to call this folder here web root, okay? All is one word. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my config file again, and you see here we are, document root, K /, and instead of it being there, I'm simply going to come in here and change this to web root. Okay? Now, let's save this out. And Adam, quick question. That index.html page, it's
Right.
not up under web root, is it?
No.
So when I go to run local server again, what's going to happen?
It'll probably bring up an index page.
Probably bring up an index page? All right, so we have saved it. I know I just saved it once, saved it again, whatever. Let's go ahead and open up the browser, and what do you think? You can't think? No. So he's whispering off camera. What do you think, Kristen?
What do I think?
Yeah, what am I going to get?
No, it's going to give you a forbidden.
Am I going to get a forbidden?
Yeah, I think it will.
Why is that?
Because
Local
your
host.
direct root is under the web root, but you have nothing in there.
But it still comes up, so both of you guys are wrong.
You need to restart the server.
There you go. Anytime you make changes to the very
That's
good,
what you were
Adam.
going to say the first time, too.
Yeah,
I was
it was.
like,